and he had gone for something for his dyspepsia, and he met her in this store, and that's how he met his future wife. And she came to Altoona, and they lived for a while with his parents until they were established. And I think my mother was born in that house on Washington Avenue. Dr. Silverman, the psychiatrist, his father was one of the children, and Lou Silverman, the attorney, his father and Dr. Silverman are brothers, and their father was one of the children. I think there were 5 boys and 2 girls, and my grandfather was one of those children. So when they were first married, they were too poor to have a house, so they lived with their parents until they were able to establish a home of their own. But it was all up on Washington Avenue. That was called Jew Hill at that point. And all the Jewish families lived up on Washington Avenue.
Yeah, Anna Bernice, better known as Sissy, had another career. In addition to the retail business, she taught school as a substitute teacher and then as a full-time teacher at Altoona High School, where she taught English and history.
Yeah.
And so in addition to all the other things that she'd been involved in, she has a history of being a public school teacher.
Could she speak any more languages?
Pardon me?
No.
Could she speak
I don't.
just English?
Just English.
Did your family speak any other languages?
No.
Yiddish.
Well, my grandfather on my mother's father spoke Yiddish, but not as an everyday language.
But my mother used to speak German in the store. Had a lot of customers that spoke German that came into the store.
When you were my age, who was your favorite musical artist or band?
I like Glenn Miller. I think he was my favorite.
Who was my favorite musical person? I don't know if I really had a favorite, but you could go along with when we used to in those days buy records. Glenn Miller was probably as good a choice as any.
What kind of games did you and your friends play?
I'm sorry?
What kind of games did you and your friends play back then? When you were our age?
Scavenger hunts, I think.
I don't remember too much about playing games early on. I guess from 12 years on, I became involved with the Boy Scouts and spent many years in the scouting activities. That took up most of my spare time or game time or whatever.
And we girls like to shop.
We still do.
Definitely. Did you grow up with other Jewish children?
Did we?
Did you grow up with other Jewish children?
Of course. There weren't a lot of us. I think there were maybe, our class in Sunday school was a combination, just as yours is. But ours was a combination of the 7th grade and the 8th grade. So we were confirmed early. And in order to form a youth group, they called us the babies because all the other youth groups were older. We were the babies of the Pennsylvania Federation. And Rabbi Cook started the youth group here. We were the first youth group. And then when Ben Cohn was killed, they changed the name to the Ben Cohn Alumni. He was killed in the war.
Sissy, which movement was the youth group? Was it BBYO? Or?
No, BBYO was separate.
Okay.
We had both.
Okay.
But the youth group was Temple.
The interesting part of again, my coming to Altoona, I had been president of the youth group congregation in Philadelphia, which is how I knew Rabbi Cook. So some of what attracted each of us to the other, I suspect, is the fact that we knew people who had been active in youth grouping as we had been. So we have long histories of associations with temple activities.
Do you have any pictures of yourself in your younger days?
Oh, yes.
We do, or I guess somewhere in some,
Well, I just went on the
in
dress.
some box or someplace.
You want me to get it? We just found one
I thought you were supposed to write that in the
in
note.
the sand.
Sissy, if you wouldn't mind showing us, we'd love to see them.
Mike was supposed to put that in the note.
Do you want
I
to
think he did.
I'll get it for you.
Okay. All right.
Did you miss school for Jewish holidays?
Yes. I know I had to leave the Roosevelt assembly. I went in and led the assembly and then went to Temple after assembly. Assembly was at 8 and services were at 10. So Mom picked me up after assembly.
I was going to say, how did you meet your spouse, but you kind of already said that.
Yeah.
When you came to assembly.
Yeah, I came with a good reference, Rabbi Cook.
Who's next? Did you have any kids?
3. Our oldest daughter was a presidential scholar. That's when President Johnson had the test for presidential scholars, and she was one. And we all got to go to Washington and shake his hand.
And we all got to the White House for the ceremony and met President Johnson and got to shake the president's hand.
In fact, we got a film
Yeah.
somewhere.
What were their names?
Kathy, Marcia, M-A-R-C-I-A, and Jonathan.